how do you approach doing something or reaching out to them with something that you know is valuable to that specific executive?
Yeah. So again, I think it just goes back to kind of thinking about what's the problem that they're trying to solve, and I guess the more high value your targets are, the more it makes sense to do some research and figure out what's in this industry, what's the problem these companies are trying to solve, and then
Yeah.
think about what are some of the things I can offer them that's just a pure, like in good faith, like really is going to be super helpful, but might be a competitor report, right? Like what are their competitors doing that I could show them? What are some,
Right.
some things based on, their on some of their, maybe their how they're being funded. If they're maybe a startup or something.
Yeah.
What are some things on their website? How could their offers be structured different? It kind of depends on what your offer is, right? If it's branding or if it's SEO or whatever it is, but you want to like offer something ideally very specific for them that you can kind of crank out at a reasonable rate, but that's like different than what other people are just most people are just saying, hey, we do this, we help people just like you, and we're gonna revolutionize your business, and let's get on a call to talk about it. And that's just not gonna work.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, I know for me, when I was at Disney, there was a consulting firm at the time that we did hold a meeting with and ended up working with, because they did exactly what you just said. They were very specific about this thing, and here's how they help. And then they also, in that case, are like, let us do this free, sort of proof of concept, and then that got them in the door to then get more work. And it
Yeah.
also opens up that role of reciprocity, where when somebody does that too, well, then, you're like, all right, well, let me do a solid back and try to figure out and see where this relationship can go. I had that happen a few times, actually, come to think about it, in the corporate side.
Yeah, and I'll say just one last thing on that is just if you're really getting stuck on what your value offer can be, a good fallback is like just create a video, a generic, doesn't have to be a personalized video, but create a video. Like if you think about who your prospects are, and then think, all right, if I had a good buddy who was one of these prospects of mine and
Yeah.
they were having trouble, what would I do if I couldn't get on a call with them? Well, maybe you just
Hmm.
record a quick video and say, hey, look, and it doesn't have to be like, there's no like high marketing production here or anything. It's just a quick Loom saying, hey, I thought this might be helpful. Here's like 3 things that most folks in your shoes should be thinking about or
Yeah.
that aren't thinking about, that I thought would be really helpful. And here they are. And then that's the video. And then, hey, if you want to talk more about how to implement this, feel free to book a call with me right on the video.
Got it.
And then just create that, and that can be sent to anybody, right? And so
Yeah.
it's just a very kind of human to human, and then call it something so that people know what the value is in the video, and that becomes your value offer, and that can be sent to anybody.
And I admit, for me, those are usually things that I will take a look at, because they feel like, especially when you see that they're literally talking about, your specific, what relates to you. It's not a message that they've mass produced for everybody. There's this balance there where you're like, oh, wow, okay. And you give it the time because you know that they gave you the time. So I could see that really valuable. Now I'm curious. So for you, do you think people should start more at that scale? I'll call it scale, but more at that difficult to scale approach, because it helps them to also refine what people are responding to? Or do you think they should jump straight into the I think I'm answering my own question, but the mass offering? Because I think most people do the latter.
Yeah, I think it's great to do, like, it's very popular to say do stuff that doesn't scale now, but in this case I think it's true that like figure out what's going to work first and do
Yeah.
some test, spend a little time testing, figure out what resonates with your prospects, and then you can figure out how to either change it, tweak it, scale it later, so that it's not some horrible watered down version of the thing that is actually working. But you'll find that balance, right?
Okay.
Even if it takes you a couple minutes though to get that out, if that's going to lead to a phone call half the time, in my opinion, that's worth it. It should be worth it,
Yeah.
especially if bringing on a new client for you is like, worth $5,000-$10,000 plus.
Right.
It's worth an extra few minutes, right?